Mick Antoniw.
First Minister, I firstly welcome the proposal you made about the suspension of standing orders in order to enable proper debate on this, because like most members of the Assembly, we've only just today seen the actual draft bill, and it obviously requires quite an amount of working through. But can I say that in the debate so far, and the debate that has been taken place within the media, I listened very carefully to what the Secretary of State for Wales has previously said. And not once has he actually addressed the key to the issue, and that is that the legislation has to be fit for purpose. It's all very well having a tick-box approach to various powers and the delivery of a bill, but legislation has to be fit for purpose. Now, I had presumed maybe it was the Secretary of State for Wales's lack of understanding of constitutional issues, until one actually hears the Leader of the Opposition and understands that this is actually quite a deep-rooted problem within the Tory party, because I haven't heard the Leader of the Opposition once talk about the fact that this bill needs to be fit for purpose. And the moment you talk about fitness for purpose, you actually get to the nub of what was discussed in the agricultural judgment about how legislation and constitutional legislation actually works. Because if the legislation does not have clarity, if it does not have simplicity and workability, then it will fail, and we will be down the road of another 5 or 10 years of constitutional confusion and delay of our ability to develop and implement policies and particular laws. There are many aspects of the reserved powers that I am not particularly happy with. I think there are things that could be added or removed, but that will take place in that further debate. Can I just ask this, First Minister, that hopefully there will be further meetings and there will be an opportunity to actually discuss the fitness for purpose. And can we perhaps try and seek an assurance from the Secretary of State for Wales and perhaps from the Leader of the Opposition here that they are in agreement that this legislation has to be fit for purpose, and perhaps asking them if they could define what they actually understand fitness for purpose actually means. Because until they have an understanding of that, it is very difficult to move on with the constitutional debate.
Yes, I mean, it was noticeable that there was a lack of understanding about what Minister of the Crown Consent meant on the benches opposite. Not all of them, but some of the benches opposite. The reality is, saying it happens now, which is what the Leader of the Opposition said, shows why we need to have it clarified. The whole point, I thought, the whole idea of this bill was to make sure that we had greater clarity, and he is arguing for that clarity to be further muddied. Now, it's important that members have the ability to look at the bill in its entirety. It's not a simple piece of legislation, far from it. It's equivalent of trying to construct the road from Wrexham to London and building a few bridges and going via the Shetland Islands in terms of what it's trying to achieve. But there we are. It can be worked on in that regard. Do I think this is something that is fit for purpose? No. I mean, just to give you another example, there's a question in the bill as drafted as to whether we could even have passed the NHS redress measure. That's how restrictive the bill can be. Now, the odd thing is, when I speak to the Secretary of State, he says to me, look, that's not the intention. The intention is to extend the Assembly's powers to make it easier to legislate. The Prime Minister said the same to me. Fine. But that's got to be demonstrated by actions as well. And we have to make sure that what we're being told is the same as what actually happens. That's why it's important that the bill is scrutinised further. But I say this now, and I don't believe I'm speaking on behalf just of my own party, we're not going to accept the bill as presented as a fait accompli. It's not happening. We don't expect David Cameron to do that, so why on earth would you expect the First Minister of Wales, or indeed other parties in the Assembly, to do that? There has to be proper engagement, there has to be a listening process, there has to be consultation to make sure that people know where the bill can be extended and improved. If that is what we see, then I very much welcome that. But so far, we've not seen a sign of it. The Secretary of State has said that's what will happen. I look forward to him keeping to his word.